In the Pacific, recent national studies show that violence against women and children is at a critical level. 2 out of every 3 Pacific women experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetimes. This is much higher than the global average of 1 in 3 women who experience physical or sexual violence.
Men and boys involvement in male advocacy for women's human rights.
A growing number of organizations, large and small, are trying to address this situation. Because of this, the demand for assistance and new effective ways to prevent this violence is enormous.
So many governments, parliamentarians, you'll hear them always say this Western concept. Almost all, if not all, Pacific Island countries have in their constitutions sections which promote and protect basic human rights.
After extensive consultations, in 2009, UN Women started the Pacific Fund to help end violence against women. The fund is designed to support small organizations and government departments in the Pacific that are working to address issues around violence against women.
Many of you here are grantees of the Pacific Fund.
The Pacific Fund provides both funding and technical assistance to a number of Pacific Island organizations, many of which work at the community level.
The community-based approach was in recognition of the numerous efforts around the Pacific by different community-based groups, civil society, for example, faith-based groups, women's organizations, youth groups, disabled people's group, HIV/AIDS group support the initiatives to end violence against women.
UN Women convened a regional workshop to bring together those working in programs supported by the Pacific Fund to share their experiences, successes and challenges.
And she called me at about 3 in the morning and there was this screeching.
The forum provided an opportunity to share experiences regarding project monitoring and evaluation to know whether actions at the community level are making a difference.
They didn't want their husbands to know.
The range of projects sponsored by the Pacific Fund is very diverse, and yet they share many of the same challenges.
In Papua New Guinea, nobody has actually done the research within the armed forces in PNG.
Many Pacific countries experience similar challenges related to gender inequality, largely influenced by cultural and religious beliefs. The majority of Pacific Fund grantees are exploring ways to change beliefs about women and men in an effort to reduce violence against women.
I talk on issues, on all of those issues that I address in school, especially on violence against girls.
The workshop participants faced numerous challenges to ending violence against women in their countries, and they shared with each other a wide variety of approaches they use to overcome those obstacles.
Looking at what's available at district level.
There's been killings, physical abuse, sexual abuse, not only from partners but from family members, friends, the community, the police, the military. Yeah, that's our main challenge. The EVO project from UN Women actually has brought Rainbow Women's Network out into the open. We had a sex worker whose husband took her with 2 of his friends. He made the 2 friends have sex with her as well as himself. We've received fundings and probably an awareness that there is a group like us that helps marginalized women.
Our target group are basically men and boys who work the streets of Suva. So the current approach that we're taking now with them is to increase the level of knowledge and understanding on these elements of violence, and also at the same time we hope to change their behavior and the attitudes. They've been able to improve how they relate to women, how they communicate with them on on the issues, how they improve their perception on what violence is.
Our organization is working on the awareness raising to the men and boys on the effects of violence as placed on women. Most of the men that are involved and participate in the awareness programs, they really participate and involved in the women's program.
We are carrying out a project, especially to end violence against women, using drama as a tool to communicate to the illiterates amongst the settlements and villages in Lake City. The challenge they are facing is the capacity building and monitoring.
Different countries, different target groups and different settings, and yet all Pacific Fund projects face a common challenge. And that is how to know that their work is actually making a difference. They also share the same desire to make their programs more effective. And, as they learned in the workshop, this requires good monitoring and evaluation.
In terms of monitoring and evaluation, I actually thought that I was the only project that was facing this difficulty, and I've come to realize yesterday that the other projects are also facing the same thing.
And so we're able to spend a lot of time helping people understand why do we do monitoring, that it's something that benefits everyone, it's a learning exercise, and how can we help people sort of pin down what are the elements that are useful, what are the elements that may be creating obstacles and challenges, and how can we sort of better capture the results from the work.
So they're seeing their ability to translate what they're doing into better information is quite valuable. They're able to document, they're able to tell other organizations what they're doing, they're able to influence policymakers, and they're able to attract money. So they're starting to see monitoring from that point of view.
Then you see this is a result of gender inequality. The difference in value, the power relationship, the roles in society.
There was no political will, actually, but the people like Save the Children, there is a project there who are working, but only on a smaller scale. What you guys are doing is actually huge, you know. I'm just speechless, you know.
Evaluation, slightly different. They're seeing their own ability to assess their own impacts is very important, so they can fix things where it needs to be fixed and to strengthen things where that needs to be done. And they recognize the importance of somebody coming from outside looking at it with fresh eyes, saying, are we really on target for what we're supposed to be doing?
And one thing that I'm really going to take back is reporting. Just very interesting to see the templates given, and that will really help me to keep me focused on the type of things I should be reporting to, and then it also helps in project planning.
I think what's key here is how each country have to define what violence is for them, given the cultural context, given the economic and all the social context that they're in. This needs to be really defined so that we can have a targeted approach.
It will actually help us to have new prevention and response strategies, and how we can actually address the issue there in Papua New Guinea.
Yes. Like, because
The sharing, the learning, the training in monitoring and evaluation methods, all of these elements made the workshop a valuable place to take note of each project's progress and make plans to move forward.
Wider reach in terms of understanding which organization is doing what and how best we can come together and complement one another.
It seems like an environment where we can build something fairly strong because people are willing to speak up, and that's important.
We've exchanged so much. It's a learning experience and a good way of us exchanging information and knowledge.
From the workshop, I've learned that sustainability is a big thing.
There's still a lot to be done in the Pacific in this area, and we need everybody's support to address this problem.